Islamism. Today is Friday, the holy day for Muslims all over the world. It is a blessing and an honor to stand before you tonight. Those that are in the public, those that are Moors, those that are not Moors, sympathizers, wayfarers, seekers after the truth. Anyone who thinks that their conditions can be better can come and join the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you will have the power to make your conditions better. Because the Prophet Noble Drew Ali say, a man without a nationality or a woman without a nationality or a child put themselves in a position to be misused and abused. So with that, I give praise to Allah and honors to His Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali. We'll open up with the Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through His Holy Prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Once again, I say praise be to Allah, honors to His Holy Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, etc. Those known, those unknown. We give honors to all the forerunners of the prophet. As John the Baptist was to Jesus, Noble Drew Ali. So we give them two forerunners honors, and we give honors to the forerunners that are not unknown, but yet unrecognized. So once we understand and study and find out about all the other forerunners, as Aaron was a forerunner to his brother and prophet Moses. Islam. So we give an honor to all the forerunners to the prophets. I give honors to each and every one of you here, out there, in our society, in my communities, and etc. Because this is a time that we know Friday is the holy day for Muslims all over the world. And on Friday, we bow down and give humble and submission and obedience and praise to the one God, the true God, the author, the creator, and the governor of all the worlds. So with that being said, I give honors to the true successor of the prophet, Brother Robert or R.E. Milliel. You can find this on the back of your questionnaire, no matter what happened. According to the law, it will be Milliel. Islam? So with that, and without further ado, we'll have a reading from the Moorish Constitution. Salvation, our God, unity. The Moorish Science Temple of America, Divine Constitution and Bylaws. Act 1, Grand Sheiks and the Grand Sheik and the Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and it was on a Friday when he departed out of flesh. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to be in danger or accused false of his brothers and sisters on any occasion at all that may harm his brothers and sisters, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life according. At this Act 5, this organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of this said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they're not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to recognize by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali the prophet to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessity of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you're entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband, take care of your duties, and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. And then it says all Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet Noble Drew Ali. This divine Drew Ali through the guidance of his father, God Allah. Thus we've had a reading from the divine constitution and bylaws that were laid down by the prophet when he began the movement to teach us that there is law in the land. So we're going to continue with the law. We have a reading from the Grand Questions for Moorish Americans, starting on page 7 through 8. The questionnaire and additional laws for the Moorish Americans by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Additional Act 1, grand sheiks and governors and heads of all temples, all businesses. Each said temple must be approved by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali before acting upon by any members, let it be finance, property, or any line of life that would cause the member to sacrifice, finance, etc. That would cause the support of any group of members. Any former officer that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under every restriction, etc., by the Prophet or the Grand Sheikh. Additional Act 2. It is the lawful, Additional Act 2, all members are to attend their ADAP meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on their meeting period, shall be fined 50 cents on the first case, and on the second case, he will be fined $1, which would go on your emergency fund. If member is working, his monthly dues must be paid. And if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he's able to the Moorish Uplifting Fund, because it takes finance to uplift a nation. It takes finance to uplift a nation. Additional Act 3. It is the lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he's able in finance, to aid me in saving the nation. And if he does not, he's an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch you. Let it be he or she according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. As I have the power in my hand, I have the power in my hand invested in my hands, and I will enforce the law in order to save the nation. I said that twice because I want you to understand the prophet said, as he has the power in his hand, and he will have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Additional Act 4. All members, while making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church or any member of any organized group, because we are to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Additional Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire, and let every member exercise his 5 senses who's able to do so, because out from your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation. Additional Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they're not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Additional Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessity of the Moorish Science Temple. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and is clean with water. This divine covenant is from the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali through the guidance of his Father, God Allah. Thus we've had a reading of the additional laws handed down by the Prophet. And you may be wondering why additional laws sounding the same. They're not the same. For you Moors, you have to study and understand that the additional laws, just like the amendment to the American Constitution, when one is not doing as they're supposed to, then the Prophet had to amend the ways, because the leaders of the nation wasn't going according to the divine Constitution and bylaws. So to get them back on track, he amended the Constitution to the grand body, the governing head of then the known Moorish Holy Temple of Science, as well as the Moorish Science Temple of America. But here in the Noble Drew Ali Foundation, we try to follow the law, because we know law is what makes one guiders, one peaceful, and makes the law to the people perfected. Because without law, we won't have order. Because one feels that they can go and do as they please. Even with law, some don't honor and perfect the law within, because you can't put something on someone that you ain't going to take into yourself. So with that, I'm going into the great law, as I call it. The Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali, by the guidance of his Father, God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem men from their sinful ways, from his sinful and fallen stages of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his Father, God, Allah. So this is what will give us the instructions how to raise ourselves from the neither world, that lower self that beings within. We will be reading from chapter 33, page 41, the holy instructions from the prophet, gratitude. As I said, it's found on page 41, and it's only the holy instructions from the prophet, gratitude. Verse 1, as the branches of a tree return their sap to the root from whence it arose, as a river pours its streams to the sea, whence the spring was supplied. Out of a grateful man, delighteth in returning a benefit received. He acknowledges obligation with cheerfulness. He look on his benefactor with love and esteem. And if to return it be not in his power, he nourished the memory of it in his breast with kindness. He forgetteth not all the days of his life. The heart of a grateful man is like the clouds of heaven, which drop upon the earth fruits, herbs, and flowers. But the heart of the ungrateful is like a desert of sand, which swallows with greediness the showers that fall, and buries them in his bosom, and produces nothing. Envy not thy benefactor, neither strive to conceal the benefit he has conferred. Although to oblige is better than to be obliged, though to act of generosity commandeth admiration, yet the humility toucheth the heart, as is amiable on the sight of both Allah and man. But receive not a favor from the hand of the proud. To the selfish and avarice have no obligations. The vanity of pride shall expose thee to shame. The greediness of avarice shall never be satisfied. Islam, I'm Grand Sheikh and Divine Minister of the Noble Drew Ali Foundation, Brother Ronald COOLEY-EL. Yes, I am a creator. I am an eel. I am from the eel tribe of the ancient Moabites and the ancient Moroccans Empire. Tonight is a great night for those who may not know and for those who do know, because we know there are some unconscious ones out there. Subhanallah. And as we continue, we're going to find that love don't need no support. Because when we learn to love instead of hate, our nation will be a grand nation. No matter who's running it, no matter who's running it, it will be a grand nation. Subhanallah, forgive me, I'm trying to make sure that everybody get a view, but it seems like it won't act proper with me tonight. But I ain't gonna give up, Moors. I'm gonna keep on demonstrating, because Nothing stops the truth. See, that's the devil trying to knock everything down to stop this truth from coming out. But I declare it's coming. If I have to break everything up, you're gonna get this truth tonight. You hear me? You're gonna get this truth tonight. No matter what the cause may be, you will get this truth tonight. I ain't gonna let nothing stop me from giving you brothers and sisters this divine truth. And as we continue in the sight of Allah, we will find that man is always, in fact, the truth. So no matter what we do, we cannot hide the truth. So as we continue, we find that man knows not by being told. Man knows naught by being told. No, man do not know anything. He only knows what he's been told. He does not know anything but other than what he's been told. So therefore, we must understand that once we begin to rectify the will of Allah, we will begin to see that the truth is everything. And what is everything? Universal truth through the great God Allah. Subhanallah, I had to straighten that up. But by the prophet saying, as the branch of a tree returns the sap to the root from which it arose, what he's telling us that this tree has grown or has given life from the sap of the root from which it arose. The root is the tree and all its branches. Without the truth, the root, the tree would not be there. Then he go on to tell us as a river poureth its streams to the sea, whence the spring was supplied. So the heart of a grateful man delighteth in returning a benefit received. A benefit received. Alhamdulillah, a benefit received. My Moors, I'm telling you, it's a great day. It's a great day. And why? Because the day is Friday, the holy day, and guess what else? It is the prophet's birthright day. So there can be nothing better toward us than the prophet's birthright day. And as we continue to live this life, no matter what happens, that Allah is God and Noble Drew Ali is his prophet. So we must understand that no matter what we do, the prophet Noble Drew Ali is giving us a way to get back to where we need to be. Yes, indeed. He's giving us a way to get back where we need to be. Yes, he did. So what we need to do is make sure that we are all under one banner. See, because a lot of times we tend to want to X each other out without a cause or reason. Without a cause or reason. We tend to want to set each other out. Yes, indeed. We tend to want to shut each other out. But if we be true to ourselves, we will know that no man lives alone. No man lives alone. That's what society is about. So when we see our children and they are being a blessing to us, they're returning the favor from which they come. And what is the favor? That filial love for their mother and their fathers. So the heart of a grateful man delighted in returning a benefit received. But now, you have to have the heart of a grateful man in order to receive the benefits well deserved. I hope you understand where I'm coming from, because a man that does not have a heart and he's not grateful, then he ain't going to return anything. And we're going to find that out tonight as we continue in this chapter called gratitude, because we're in trying times now, dear Moors. We need charity and gratitude abundantly in these trying times. And those of you who watch the news, listen to the news, know that times are not amendable or commendable to everyone. So if we have the heart of gratefulness and we say we're grateful and righteous or good man, because only righteous only means putting the right actions into play as a part of humanity. You say you're a human being, violence, cursing. Those words for morals, the prophets say not in the smallest form should we use profanity or any sinful word to Allah's creation. He says we must learn to love instead of hate. But our world, our communities, and our cities are full of division and hate because no one recognizes gratitude toward one another. For without being in the bands of society, you couldn't enjoy the good that's given unto you. So we must learn how to be grateful. We must learn how to use and be gratitude. Because the man or woman or child that goes through vainglory, when they fall, there's no hand to reach for them, for they had not gratitude. They wanted power without love. They use rigor. You can't demand love, respect, and gratitude with rigor. And I know because my prophet instructed me of that. He acknowledged, this is the grateful man now. He acknowledges obligations. See, he acknowledges obligations, his duty. Simple as that. He acknowledged his duty with cheerfulness. He look upon his benefactor with love and esteem. Now, from a divine point of view, his benefactor will be the great God. By whatever name you call or recognize, I call it the all, the holiness, Allah. But yet here in this finite world, your benefactor is the prophet Noah. And why is he your benefactor? Because he came and brought you out of utter darkness into the marvelous light. He took you out the backyard and put you in the front yard. He made you conscious that you're no longer Negro, black, colored, or Ethiopian. He made you a citizen because he gave you back your nationality, your divine creed, and your ancient standard. The Moorish flag, the red flag, with the 5-pointed green star in the center, and the 5 points represents love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And all of those who proclaim, no matter what temple you in, no matter what city you in, no matter what space you in, you have to give honors to the standard of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Gratitude in honoring and loving your Father. And if you love your holy prophet, who is your benefactor, then you love man, because the prophets say to withhold justice is both mean and unjust. Gratitude, my brothers and sisters, is a mighty thing. Humbling thyself to thy benefactor. And listen what it says. With love and esteem. With love and esteem. If you don't love yourself, then you can't love the prophet. And if you don't love yourself, you don't have esteem from yourself. You don't have esteem for yourself. So how can you give love and esteem to your benefactor if you can't give it to yourself? That's why it says, go within and learn the precepts of truth. Let the windows of truth open up the eye of eternity of the Elohims, of the 7 creative spirits that created everything that ever was, is, and evermore to be. I declare by the holy prophet Noah in these modern days and times, by the great God Allah, the Father of all the universe. He is the causeless cause and the rootless root from which all things have grown. Praise be to that great God, that esteem. He is the force that makes the power be. Without him, there be none of this. You or I. And it says, time never was when man was not. If a time come when man was, the time will come when it will be no more. But the thoughts of Allah cannot be circumscribed, and no fitting mind can comprehend things different. These instructions are divine instructions. That makes them holy instructions. Instruction are to be used to prepare yourself the way of life that you choose to live. See, anybody can be a fool or play the fool by half. But wisdom comes through experience. And as we continue to grow and understand communities, governments, we'll understand that all of that goes back to family. No matter what laws are made, man exercise and execute the law by his understanding and most of the time by his moral aptitude, no matter who he may be. Then he gets to what I call the letter, man's opinion. For he exerts the law of his forefather. But let's go on with this gratitude. And if to return it be not in his power, he nourished the memory of it in his breast with kindness. Sometimes you don't have the means by which to return it. But if you're not bullying, conning, so you think when one render you a blessing, then you would hold it in your breast until you have the means by which to return it. Listen, and if to return it be not in his power, he nourished the memory of it in his breast. With kindness, he forgetteth it not all the days of his life. So when he comes around you or see you, he don't drop. He let you know, brother, man, sister, woman, I know ETC, but I know right now I'm not in a position to render you that particular favor, whatever it may be. But I'm always thinking about how I can return it to you. So don't think I have forgotten you. Never can I forget you, because I hold you in my breast with esteem. He forgetteth it not all the days of his life. Verse 4. The heart of the grateful man is like the clouds of heaven, which drops upon the earth fruits, herbage, flowers. But the heart of the ungrateful is like a desert of sand, which swalloweth with greediness the showers that fall, and buries them in his bosom, and produces nothing. That's the heart of the ungrateful man. He wanted all. He wanted all. Everything he do produce, he produce it for himself. So that's just like producing nothing. See, ungrateful people tend to think that it's all right to take, to come, to do things that they shouldn't do. You know, as leaders, we must understand that our duty is to lead with love, through peace, with the justice. Because when you're a leader, people look for you for their benefit. That makes you a benefactor. But if you don't know how to act or to show your esteem of character, then your bubble is going to surely burst. Because when you see not yourself, others discover you most plainly. Relevancy. The President of the United States, he need to learn to love instead of hate. He need to understand that power don't come through money and material things. Power comes through the understanding of the force which obliges you to give you power in your hand, in your arms, and in your eyes, and in your lips. That time. But sometimes we can be honored and don't deserve it. But that's another story for another time. Because we know these are trying times now, dear Moors. But we have to give praise to Allah and give him our gratitude because we need another cycle of days. This is the new year, Friday the 15th. 7 days after the birthday of our holy prophet, COOLEY-EL. This ungrateful man produces nothing because he honor not nothing. He has no heart to sympathize, no power to save. He is an illusion and nothing more. This is why his condition is as it is. Only if he would go in. You ungrateful men and women and children, go within and see yourself. Because when you see not yourself, others discover you most plainly. And you don't receive the benefit of the grateful. Because if you had esteem of character and was grateful of love and peace, you will be where you're supposed to be. Slum, the will ain't man. The will is of Allah. He directs the course. What's going on is not by man. They're only being led by the great God Allah to do what need to be done. We know what Trinity brings. We know what dictatorship brings. Because most dictators and most men of Trinity are men of ungratefulness. They want it all and don't want to give anything. Let's continue. Verse 5, envy not thy benefactor, neither strive to conceal the benefit he has conferred. For though to oblige is better than to be obliged. Though the act of generosity commands of admiration, yet the humility touches the heart. and is amiable on the sight both of Allah and man. Let me read that to you again. Verse 5. Envy not thy benefactor. That means don't look at him and wish that you could have what he has, because you can if you only exert yourself. The prophet said Moors are upright, independent. They are progressive, not passive. So envy not thy benefactor, because envy produces hate and mistrust. Neither strive to conceal the benefit he hath conferred. Don't try to hide it, because it's a blessing. It was given to you so that he can do what? Bring you into his sapphire, like the devil, like Satan. Neither strive. Strive means don't go through the actions of trying to conceal the benefit, whatever it may be, he has conferred upon you. Talk about the ungrateful man there. For though to oblige is better than to be, though to oblige is better than to be obliged. So the prophet is saying it's better to be obliged or to oblige, to give, to listen, to understand, than to be obliged. So a man or a woman that give out the kindness of their heart are just and grateful people. So they rather oblige than to be obliged. But that ungrateful man, he wants to be obliged because he don't believe he should give up anything. Though the heart, the act of generosity, commandeth admiration. Then the prophet is saying, though the heart, though the act of generosity commandeth admiration, but listen, yet the humility touches the heart and is amiable in the sight both of Allah and eyes, is amiable because it is in the heart of Allah and man. Man is made in his image and after his likeness, but they gave up their right just to satisfy that carnal self, that lower self, that body of desire. Which will rush you upon destruction. Act verse 6. But receive not a favor from the hand of the proud. To the selfish and avarice have no obligation. The vanity of pride shall expose thee to shame. The greediness of avarice should never be satisfied. More and more and more and more and more and more. So ungrateful that he shares not. So ungrateful that he think he can take his prosperity and oppress another. That's why the prophet tells us, be good, be true. Because the man who live upon roses, he can't forget he can't get off because it's thorns. But he who sleep on hay is blessed for his simplicity. The difference in life, brother man, sister woman, gratitude. See, instructions are to be applied to oneself. Gratitude. Give it to yourself. Therefore, you will have the power of will to render it to someone else. And with gratitude to your benefactor, Allah, the great God of the universe, he will see you through the darkness of the crooked places of the world. Yes, there is no darkness when you recognize who has the power and whence it comes. Man is not the body nor the soul. He's a spirit and a part of Allah. But he fell in 7 others. Elohim, protoplasm, the fallen angels, the watchers, all of these fail. Why? Because of disobedience. And we have been in slavery and have been tagged because we was disobedient. We did not honor the principle of our forefathers and our God. Even when we were set free out of Egypt, which was in Asia, which is a Mexican, on our way to Canaan, we disavowed to listen to the Father. We thought we knew. He sent Moses with the law. But by the time Moses got down from the hill of Sinai, the mountain of Sinai, his brother Aaron had let the people forget the way. Not worshiping animals, gold, and all these things. And this is our problem today. You can't have a national unity without knowing who you are. Black unity. The prophet say black means death. Color. Anything that has been painted, stained, varnished, or dyed. Negro. A name given to a river in West Africa because it contained black waters. Black water is dead water. It can't be used for anything. Now, Ethiopia. The prophet said there's no such thing as Ethiopia. Why? The word Ethiopia means division. Division of what? Division of two things. But the greatest division was between the father and the son. Old man Cush and his son Ham. Ham became, once again, he became ungrateful, no gratitude, and began wanting to be where his father be. So all of those who were with him, the coop, they left and went to Egypt and settled in the southeast portion of Mexico. In the land of Moabite, the agriculture position was getting bad. So Cush went to the pharaohs of Egypt and asked, could he settle that portion of land? And what was that portion of land? The northwest and southwestern shores of Africa, the ancient name of Mexico. This goes back over 10,000 years. But the word and the names were changed. Why were they changed? To take the Israelites and take their name. We know that Noah was Asiatic, Abraham was Asiatic, Moses was Asiatic, but the European will tell you not so. And you'll listen to him and won't go to an up-to-date library and research the truth for yourself. But that's what the prophet talks about. We love the lower self, the carnal self, the body of desire, which is only a reflection of the higher self distorted by the murky ethers of the flesh. And we as men and women create those conditions. Because we don't understand nationality, and nation. Marcus Garvey came to teach us to unify socially, politically, and economically. Noble Ali, aka Sharif Abdul Ali, came to teach us our divine creed and our national origin from an ancient to these modern days and times. You hear me? Are you listening? You are not Negro, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians. And according to the UN and the families of nations, you are not recognized because you won't stand up to the Constitution and answer up. If the Italians, the Chinese, and any other come here, they have to answer up to the Constitution. And it ain't no more than right, if they have to answer up to the Constitution, that you should answer up to the Constitution. Because if you don't answer up to the Constitution, then you're out of law. This color scheme is practiced nowhere but here in America. We are not asking, nor are we demanding. All we saying is we are no longer want to answer up to those marks that were put upon us in 1774 and lasted until 1865. Because this is a new era of time now. And all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. That's all we ask. We know we can't depend on you to tell the truth, but we know the truth. So we shouldn't have to go to no court to attach our ancient and divine attribute to our name. You want us to bow back our rightful, God-given name. You know the law, but I will say this. Myself, I went to them and they gave me a favorable reply on my social security card. They said, Ronald C. COOLEY-EL. I didn't have to spend no money. But I'm not one to receive a benefit and not give it back. I try to tell them. Go to the places, the leaders with love and receive a favorable reply. The prophet said, go to your people in government in an intelligent tone, they will render you a favorable reply. But today, when you say, I'm Ronald COOLEY-EL or Joe Maxfield Bay, they don't want to do it, talking about it's not legal. What do you mean it's not legal? The Ashkenaz and the Sephards, Jews, run around here talking about they Jews, but they know they converts. But you want to white us out, giving us granted civil rights privilege. The Constitution says every man has the right to prosper and receive his prosperity. But now if you saying that the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, is a humane thing, thus, you know that's not true. Through love, we ask. Give the right, because we have been civil. We were civil before any part of Europe became civil. We created the first civilization known to man and the first religious creed that's known to man. You know, but you know a lot don't know. What harm would it be to become a grateful man or woman with gratitude? Brothers and sisters of the Moorish nation, Asiatics, unconscious, seekers after the truth, what happened to the capital was a disgrace. And why do I say it's a disgrace? As a Moorish American Muslim, this is my country. And I dare someone to attack my country trying to say that the Asiatic Moors vote don't count. I dare you try to suppress our vote For we are grateful, loving American sinners of Moorish descent, even though you don't want to recognize. I think I'm pretty good in studying history. You know who your ancient forefathers were, but you want to start our history at the closing of the Civil War, which you allowed us to fight in. We was fighting for the freedom of America when you turn around and treat us like we unbound slaves. But that didn't stop us because we are resilient people. All we need as one unit of the human race divided into nations. And each of these nations have names. And the people of the European slave trade of North America took these people, whooped them till they didn't call their name of their God no more. Then they wouldn't let them read. Then they sent them to church and picked one to preach to. But now that we're upright, unafraid, we know. We know about the Moroccan Treaty. Those of us who studied the law and practiced civility, I understand the Constitution. The prophet gave me a card saying I'm a U.S. citizen. Thus, I should not have to, or my people should not have to, do anything under a Civil Rights Act. When you took us from our homeland according to our customs and tradition, we were civil. And I understand with war come bounty or booty. But how can you love yourself, oh humanity, and not love your brother in kind? I'm talking about humanity, being human beings, rotating in the same atmosphere, but with a different thought. See, I can think. And that's what you try to prevent. You want us to think and say what you taught us to say. But my job here in the Moorish Science Temple of America as Grand Sheikh and Divine Minister of the Noble Drew Ali Foundation is to teach and instruct the brothers in the divine principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Teach them that they're not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to them by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. That's what I'm teaching. I'm not teaching hate. I'm teaching love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, the truth, the everlasting gospel, the saving power that comes from Allah through our ancient fathers by his prophet. Let's put love, truth, peace, and freedom with justice out there. When we extend our hand, let's extend that hand of the 5 and the 7 principles. The 7 creative spirits that created everything that ever was, is, and evermore to be. I do declare. The Elohim of man. Let it rise. Let it rise. For we no longer will accept those names. And when I speak to my young brothers, I understand their thing about hood. We got to get away from the hood and get back to the neighborhood. And it is our duty to instruct them. There's no such thing as endearing when you say my N-word. Because the Holy Prophet say you're not that. And in the science of the 5%, I agree. You are an angel sent to the four corners of the world to teach the everlasting gospel. You are God in the image and the likeness of Allah. He created you in his image and after his likeness. So you should have the nature to nurture the character of a godly man or woman. You don't have to take my word. Go to Up to Date Library and check it out for yourself. Then you understand why you are at the bottom of the pyramid and you're in poverty. They wonder why so many of us have been to jail or in jail. It's because they shut it down. But when we became conscious, we begin to understand we ain't got to tear it down. We just got to make a way for ourselves. Because in this big democracy, everybody can get it but us. When we form a union, they try to tear it down or disgrace it. But if they create it, it's all right. See, we know white don't make right and white don't give right. It will be a beautiful and wonderful nation if we did as the prophets say, learn to love instead of hate. Take not away, but giveth. And what am I talking about giving? Love and truth. Because salvation is a rock on which man builds himself in understanding and being able to exercise and produce a life for his family within the bonds of society. We must teach on every span of ground, especially those who are given the mantle to lead. We see what lying and hate does. I'm a citizen of the District of Columbia, which is a territory, which should be a state. I can't even walk down the street. That don't make sense. But it does make sense when you understand the conditions. Create a condition and hide something else. Brothers and sisters, just remember, as the branches of a tree return their sap to the root from which it arose, as a river pours its streams to the sea, whence the spring was supplied, so the heart of a grateful man delighted in returning a benefit received. Thus, I say, peace unto all, and continue to do what's best. But I say, go to the library and understand and check out your history. Let no man think that he holds over you, because Allah created us in his image and after his likeness. And I know, whether they agree with it or not, it wasn't no two gods, it wasn't no two Adam and Eve. We are the first and we are the last. As it says in Revelation, the Alpha and the Omega. He is last, will be first. And this nation will not heal until we come together. This will be a great republic. But until we understand that we're all one in the same, with this one national order, but we live in a country that's built upon immigration. The only ones that's true are the Moors and the Indians. So we all are immigrants, even though we were brought here against our will. With that, I say, I hope I said some things to open up your mind and to soothe your heart, to let you know that you can rise above the degradation, the deceit, and all. Because the prophet said, if you think your conditions can be better, come and join the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you will have the power to save yourself and your people. Because there's much work for all that do. And we welcome all who come to aid and assist our prophet in his gigantic mission of the uplifting of fallen humanity. Islam, that is the meeting for the night, where we will have the Moorish American prayer, and then we'll read the Constitution, and that will be the all. So without further ado, I have a reading from the proclamation. Prophet warns all Muslims, all governors, to read proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical agitating speech while at work, in their homes, or on the street. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop fashioning your cars of Europeans and cars to street. Remember, your God is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequences. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice will take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feeling toward the temple or the prophet or violated the covenant, the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deed. All true Moors will and must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their car, cease wearing their button, cease wearing their fez and turbans, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Deuteronomy. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet is therefore sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part here. The prophet therefore is sending out a divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways by order of the prophet Noble Deuteronomy. Thus we've had a reading from the warning, the proclamation by the prophet. It is to be read at each meeting. We will now stand 5 fingers on the left, 2 on the right, and we will say and recite the Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, through Islam. I hope you go in peace. Protect yourself and follow the distance. Social distance is surely true because we don't want to wake up and find that you have gone to the plane of soul. Say Islam in peace.